The Law of Revenge Episode 47. #Sagaseries. Jake arrives at the hospital and Gabriel thanks him for offering to help Hope out as the doctor interrupts them saying Jake's parents need to sign a document before the transplant happens. Gabriel decides to go talk to Marissa. Jake visits Hope in her ward and takes care of her. At the Senitosa mansion, Belen tells Ellis that it's unacceptable that Gabriel wants to ask for Marissa's help. Ellis tells her that saving Hope's life is her priority and she is a mother so she needs to understand. Belen warns her that Marissa is not trustworthy but Ellis said she is willing to die for Hope. An angry Belen meets up with Cesar. She asks why Marissa won't just disappear but Cesar tells her to be patient in matters relating to Marissa. Elsewhere. Gabriel visits Marissa's office with the consent form asking for her consent so that Jake can donate his bone marrow to Hope since Jake has already agreed because Ellis had convinced him so he only needs her approval to start the procedure. Marissa becomes angry because Ellis went to talk to Jake without her permission and reminds Gabriel about how badly Ellis treated Jake and after she stole everything from her Gabriel is asking her approval so her son donates his bone marrow to Hope and kicks him out of her office. Marissa receives a text from Adelina informing her that Ellis sent Jake to jail. Marissa calls Adelina who asks her that after all that Ellis has done to her son isn't it enough reason for her to kill Ellis already as Marissa hangs up. Later, Adelina sees Cesar at a restaurant eating and confronts him for not changing a bit since he still pulls up an army to get rid of his enemy. Cesar said it looks like her house arrest was very good and he has no idea what she's talking about. Adelina tells him that she knows him very well but if he really plans to kill Marissa then he won't succeed. Cesar asks her why he will hurt Marissa knowing very well they are working together and Adelina tells him just like he and Belen shocking him and advises him to be careful on whom to trust. At the Senitosa mansion, Ellis asks Gabriel if Marissa has agreed to their request. Gabriel tells her that Marissa didn't sign the consent form but Gabriel said he will continue to convince her. However Ellis disagrees saying if she doesn't want to then they wouldn't force her so she will look for another donor as they hug. At the condo, Marissa becomes so angry at Jake for agreeing to be Hope's donor after all the horrible things Ellis did to them and reminds him that Hope isn't his real sister but Jake said maybe they can be a match and he can save her life. Marissa said he has thrown away their plans just to save the life of one person. Hope tells her he will always support her but not in exchange for Hope's life. A crying Marissa said there are plenty of donors out there and he knows that Ellis took everything from her and ruined her life but Jake cries telling her that he can't do this anymore. Gabriel tells his family to get themselves ready to be tested to see if their bone marrow matches that of Hope. Sonia asks him if Jake wouldn't donate again but Gabriel tells her that Marissa didn't give them the approval needed to proceed. Carmelita tells him not to worry because they will help him as Sonia offered to talk to Marissa. A crying Jake visits Hope at the hospital to apologize since his mom didn't give her approval but Hope tells him not to worry because what matters to her the most is that he was willing to donate his bone marrow to her and that's good enough. He then showed Hope the same painting they saw on the wall on his tablet as Hope flashbacks to that day. Hope thanks Jake and he said it's the most that he can do. At the hospital, Hope's illness becomes critical while Ellis and Lucine take care of her. Elsewhere, Sonia visits Marissa at her office. She tries to convince Marissa to help out Ellis since Hope is also her niece and she has nothing to do with their fight. Marissa refused to help Ellis but Sonia said she knows for her sake she will agree and asks if she is so heartless to the extent that she won't save Hope's life. A crying Marissa confesses her truth to Sonia that Hope and Jake are not really siblings because someone ordered a hit on her 17 years ago and that's why she disappeared but Jacob died in the process. Sonia asks Marissa who did that to her and she says she suspects Ellis and Cesar and she only adopted Jake from an orphanage and pleads with her to keep it a secret because Jacob was her nephew too and she only wants justice for his death. At the hospital, the entire family has been tested but none of them was a match so they encourage Ellis that they will find another donor. Carmelita, Christina and Helena visit the condo to see Jake but Lucine said he's not around. They tell Lucine that they wished for Jake to be Hope's donor but things are complicated because of their conflicts. Later Gabriel pays Hope a visit to check up on her. Jake and Alfred play with a kite so Jake positions the kite to Hope's window. Hope sees it and asks Gabriel if Jake is around. Alfred also asks Jake how he is sure Hope will see the kite, and Jake said he can feel it. Cesar and Belen go to meet Ellis at the hospital. Cesar tells her about their financial crises because of the negative publicity Marissa is spreading about Senidoza. Ellis tells him there is nothing she can do now because she can't abandon Hope in her condition. Belen offers to take over temporarily since it's the only thing she can do to support her. Ellis thanks her while Cesar stares at Belen. Jake goes to the hospital to do a secret test to find out if his bone marrow matches that of Hope. As he is given a form to complete. Elsewhere at the Villarosa mansion, Sonia tells Helena that they all tested negative but she wasn't able to convince Marissa. Helena tells her they will find another donor. At the hospital, Jake is informed that his bone marrow is compatible with Hope's, but Jake begs the nurse not to tell Hope's parents yet as he goes to see Hope. Jake tells Hope that he tested positive so she is going to survive. Hope asks if Marissa will agree since their conflict with her mom is becoming worse, but Jake promises her that they will convince her as Hope cries and hugs Hope. At the condo, Abel asks Marissa why she doesn't want Jake to be Hope's donor, and a drunk Marissa tells him that she has been making sacrifices for Ellis and her family all her life, but she lost everything because Ellis chose to be selfish as she cries and sleeps on Abel's chest. Yeah.